Oh, hello there. I didn't see you. Guys, my name is Noah and I am currently on a trip. We are in a cabin in the middle of the woods. It is beautiful, but anytime I take a trip as someone with a history of anxiety, depression, and just being a worrier and ruminating a lot, I get nervous, I get anxious, I feel physically activated basically every time, and I occasionally catastrophize or whatever. The point is I have to manage my brain and the way it works and my anxiety every time pretty methodically in order to have a successful trip. Taking trips is just hard for me. It is stressful for me. It scares me a bit. And I wanted to share with you some tips in no particular order that genuinely help me thrive in an environment where I sometimes predispose myself to struggle. Glad you guys are here. So, in no particular order, some tips for traveling when you're anxious that really help me and hopefully can help you. Number one, be the person you needed when you were a kid. Essentially, be your best parent, be your best adult, and always look and speak and treat yourself as if you're a nervous, younger person and you need a more well-rounded, a more assertive, a more calm, a more collected presence in your own life. Be that person for yourself. So anytime I start finding myself wandering, I make sure that I basically coach myself through the moment as if I wasn't scared. Like, what would I do, say, how would I behave, what would I be feeling if I wasn't afraid, if I wasn't nervous, if I didn't think something was gonna go wrong, if I wasn't afraid I was gonna panic or whatever. And then talk to yourself from that perspective. Essentially imagine a younger person coming to you and being nervous. What leadership role would you take for that person and what would that look like? It's pretty amazing what we can do under that context. Number two, make sure that you are framing your mind every morning with gratitude, with plans, and with affirmations. So routine is pretty important in general, and it's extra important in my opinion when you travel. So for me, I still make sure that I wake up, I grab my phone, and I use an app. It's a 5-minute journaling app, and I make sure that I say 3 things I'm grateful for. I make sure that I say affirmations for the day. So I am strong, I can enjoy my day, I can have success here, I am worthwhile, things like that. And also my plans for the day. What are my plans? And these can be broad, these can be specific, it doesn't matter. But the point is you are actively and specifically triggering your brain to scan the world for positive and to empower yourself to have a good experience, as opposed to looping in your head that you're not gonna do well, you're gonna struggle today, today's gonna be hard, what if I panic? All of those things are deleterious to your experience, right? So you want to avoid them at all costs. And it helps to actively and tangibly put action in that. Identify the things on your trip that you can control. So like I'm in this cabin. I knew that I could take a little moment by myself, quiet in the morning while people wanted to go for a hike. I didn't want to go for a hike, so I didn't. I stayed here. I took my supplements. I brought them with me that I normally take. I did my gratitude journal, like I said, in the morning. I did some breathing. I got some fresh air. I did some grounding. Identify the things that you can control them, and then identify the things you can't and come to accept that. Just accept that you're in an environment that's going to be a little bit different and that you're going to have to let things kind of go a little bit. Stick to your routine as much as you possibly can. When I'm at home in my normal environment, I'm constantly engaged in a really nice ritualistic game plan for my day, right? I've got my morning, I've got my midday, I've got my afternoon, my evening, and I thrive with structure. I thrive with routine. It's been actually very helpful in my journey with mental health problems and depression and anxiety to know that I can stick to a plan that can help rewire my brain and lead me towards success. And so one of the mistakes I used to make is that if I would travel, when I would travel, I would completely get off my game, like entirely, unnecessarily so. For me, it's making sure that I still engage in my normal routine whenever I possibly can. Most of the basics stay the exact same so that I can just do better on my trip and not feel totally out of whack when I'm lost from that routine. Of course, I do think it's a bit exciting to get out of your routine, but I also think it's incredibly important to stick to the basics that give you success anyway. Whether that's mood journaling in the morning, meditation, yoga, going for a walk, having a healthy meal if you're someone that eats, doing some journaling, whatever that is, or in the evening, making sure that you brush your teeth and you give yourself time to digest after dinner and you take your supplements. Stick to your routine whenever possible. Get some exercise and you're going to do better. This one's sort of obvious, but avoid alcohol and or minimize how much you drink. A lot of people are like, okay, I'm on a trip, I'm nervous, I'm freaking out, I don't like this, so I'm just gonna get super wasted and that's gonna make it better. Yeah, in the moment, maybe in the moment. But if this is a long trip, you're going to make your following day or your following days significantly more difficult. There's a burden on your body anyway when you drink, so it's just hard on the system, which can make you more anxious. And then of course, alcohol does have an anxiety-provoking effect the day after. It really does. For me, I definitely get more anxious when I'm drinking, so it's gonna be, or after I drink, like the next day. So it's gonna be really important for you to be mindful of that because you're an adult, okay? So you have to accept the fact that your body is going to keep score. So if you're gonna drink, know that there could be consequences, or give yourself permission to cut it out early, drink less, and you'll feel really empowered the next day. Hangovers are tough to deal with when you're traveling. I really like this next tip, and I hope you take this to heart. If you're someone who really values your sleep, which you should, you need to value it even more when you're traveling. And there's no reason you can't at least strongly attempt to get a good night's rest. So what I suggest you do is travel with melatonin, particularly if you don't use melatonin at home. Melatonin is a tablet that is a hormone that is responsible for your sleep, responsible for making you feel sleepy. It's part of your circadian rhythm. When your melatonin is elevated in the evening, it's charged up through the day, it's peaked at the evening, and then you ride that baby to sleep. But if you take melatonin when you don't normally use melatonin, it's going to really help you get rest. If you're properly rested on a trip, your ability to handle and enjoy and embrace the experience is going to just skyrocket. It's night and day difference when I'm rested and when I'm not. So consider taking melatonin as a hack for getting extra sleep, getting to bed, and feeling more rested the next day. Next one, remember, nobody is forcing you to be absurdly unhealthy. I don't treat a trip or a vacation as a license to go insane and eat all the things I would never eat and drink all the alcohol I would never drink and whatever that might mean, right? Get less sleep, eat total junk 24/7. Binge drink or whatever. The combination of all of those things for someone that struggles with anxiety, depression, and just thrives in the presence of structure and routine is absurd. No one's got a gun to your head saying you have to eat ice cream all night and drink beer all day and eat fried food that's gonna upset your stomach, which you know what I mean? Like, be as healthy as you possibly can. I have less anxiety when I feel like I'm taking good care of myself. So just remember, because I'm on a trip, I don't use it as an excuse to go absolutely insane. Of course, I want to have fun. I don't want to be overly rigid. I want to put my hair down, all of it, right? I want to enjoy my experience. But for me, that looks like this. I'm still going to do my fasting. I'm going to stick to my fasting routine. I'm not going to overeat. And if I do enjoy some treats, I'm still going to incorporate vegetables with every meal, fiber with every meal, and just keep it more low key because I know I buy into and I believe in the way I feel when I'm being more healthy. And I find that it makes the vacation more enjoyable, makes me feel less gross, so to speak, and just allows me to have more fun. And this one is so important, you guys. Focus on the people around you. See what you can do to help them have their best possible experience. This one is kind of a no-brainer, but if you are focused on others, it's going to be a lot harder to focus on yourself. So see what you can add to the experience for others as opposed to being worried about what's going to happen or might happen to you in your experience. This gives you a sense of leadership. This gives you a sense of ownership over the moment. And this really helps other people have fun. And when other people are having fun and you know that you're a part of that, you just inherently feel better. Every time I ever make it about someone else, I don't think about myself and I do better. So for me, I woke up this morning and I started cleaning the house and cleaning up after other people. It made me feel good. Being of service to others always makes you feel good. So figure out what can you bring? And I mean this, be mindful. What can you bring to this situation to help other people have fun? It's something I'm going to be thinking about this entire trip. And I know it's going to help me get outside of myself, which is an important thing. You're on vacation for sure, but take some quiet time for yourself. That's what I'm taking literally right now. I'm hanging out with you guys. I'm making a video, but they wanted to go for a hike. I knew that it was going to be more valuable to me to take this quiet time with myself, to kick it with my YouTubers, and just take a moment to breathe before we go have a long day where we're going to be out in the water, we're going to rent a boat, we're going to do a lot of things. I'm going to try to be really in the moment and experience those things and enjoy it and use some of those other tips I talked about. But there's no one forcing you to not take a moment for yourself. I think we have this fear like everyone's going to judge us. Oh, I don't want to be weird. I don't want to step aside. I don't want to ask for some quiet time, embrace some solitude. Nobody cares. People are thinking about themselves. Just do what you need to do to take care of yourself. And if that's take a quiet moment, Take it. No one cares, and it's gonna make you feel better. It's gonna help you have a better experience and therefore help everyone else have a better experience too. So just do it. You're on vacation, but this is your trip, right? This is still my trip. I can do whatever I want. So that way, when I am engaged with people, when I'm officially a part of the group, I've got something to give, something to offer. And when I'm not, I can honor myself and give myself permission to take that time. And be willing to be calm. Don't predispose yourself to this idea that you can't be calm, that you won't have a good time, that it's going to be miserable. These are all like beliefs, that manifest destiny stuff. Like if you believe that, it's probably going to be true. And so that's part, it goes back to like setting your intention for the day and your affirmations, but just say to yourself, I'm willing to have a good experience. I can have fun. I'm willing to be changed. I'm willing to have a good time. I think when you frame it that way, it gives yourself permission to get lost in the moment and have things go really, really well. And yeah, maybe they're not going to go well. Maybe you're acutely struggling with panic, and maybe you're acutely struggling with anxiety, but it doesn't mean it can't go well. So give yourself permission to let that happen. Make sure someone in your squad knows that you tend to run anxious and that you're a bit nervous and that you need support. Just knowing that someone else is consciously aware that you might need a little extra support, it lends itself so well to a calming experience. Like my wife, she knows traveling is hard for me. It just is. I know that there are certain things I'm gonna have to do to maximize my experience when I travel. I give myself permission to have a good time, right? And I also just tell my wife, hey, please look out for me a little more than usual. Maybe come behind me, just rub my back here and there, check on me once in a while. And it makes me feel less alone. It makes me feel more empowered and more bolstered to have a good time. So whether you feel comfortable or not telling multiple people, that's up to you. But make sure one person knows that you could use a little bit of extra support. Now you've got a team. You're officially a team of 2 people that are going to be looking after your wellness and your mental health and empowering you to have a good time. So don't go at it alone. For me, this is one that's very particular for me, but I keep low-dose Klonopin on me. So Klonopin is a benzodiazepine. It is a prescribed medication. It's very, very calming. And I don't use it unless I need it. But when I travel, I make sure I travel with Klonopin. My mental health provider prescribed it for me as needed. Again, I haven't needed it for over a year and a half, but it's just this safety blanket. So consider traveling with something like that if you really need to. If you run extra anxious, if you're just one of those people that could panic at any given moment or whatever, see if your mental health provider or your doctor would be willing to prescribe you as needed benzodiazepine. For me, it's Klonopin. Again, consult with your physician. These are highly, highly addictive medications, so that's a slippery slope. If you know yourself and that could be a problem, maybe don't go that route. But for me, I just have it with me, and having that with me when I travel makes a big, big difference. It just comforts me to know that it's there, it's a tool, and it's available if I need it. And I end up never needing it, but it's good to know it's there. Last one I'll say is at the end of your day, make sure that you are journaling. Make sure that you're writing down how your day went. Take a moment to acknowledge some good moments that happened throughout the day. Continue to reframe your mind to scan the world for positive, and just reflect. I think writing things down is just a really, really, really nice thing. It's so beautiful here. I took some establishing shots, so I wanted you guys to see, but this, I'm currently just looking at this gorgeous mountainside. I'm in nature. I'm outside of my comfort zone, but I truthfully believe this is where I should be. It's so important for me not to avoid these sort of experiences. If I just shut them off because I tend to run anxious or I'm worried about my mood, what if I have a hard time or whatever, it just reinforces this idea that there's something bad or wrong about me and that I can't do things. And so the sense of confidence that I personally get when I say yes to these sort of things is immeasurable. It's so important for me to show myself and to guide myself through these things so that I can feel empowered to try them again. Because a lot of us feel a bit crippled by our mental health sometimes, and I don't want that to be the case. Like, I've proven to myself time and time again that I am capable of wonderful things in the face of depression and anxiety. And so being able to go on this trip despite being nervous about it is so special to me. It's so important. And I know I will go home with like a renewed sense of confidence in myself as a person, as a man, and as someone who runs anxious. It's like, look what I did. And acknowledge those little things and give yourself the win and be gentle to yourself. Be kind to yourself. Know that you absolutely can do this. You're not alone. And I hope some of these tips helped you. I wanted to take a time to make this video early because I don't know if I'll have a chance to record any footage after this. We are headed to the lake, but thank you for being here with me. Thank you for spending some time with me on my vacation. And I appreciate you guys so much. In the comment section, of course, please let me know what you guys like to do to manage your anxiety or to help you thrive when you get into unfamiliar territory. If you made it this far in the video, I want you to put circle. Write circle in the comments. That lets me know that you made it this far in the video, that you hung with me this entire time. I really appreciate you guys. We will see you guys in the next video. Wish me luck that I have a successful rest of my trip, and we'll talk soon. Adios.